Hey, Senda.
Hey, Phil.
What do we do if we have a bunch of questions that we have to answer all in one show?
We blitz through some kind of grab bag.
Ho, ho, ho. And welcome to another episode of Panda's Talking Games. I am your host who's full of Christmas cheer, Phil.
And I am your other host who is full of, I don't know, also Christmas cheer?
I mean, you can. That wasn't exclusive.
I'll take winter solstice.
Oh, there you go.
I'm a fan of that holiday. Sure. I am full of winter holiday cheer, just generalized.
There you go. That's lovely. That's lovely. And that's not to exclude anybody else who's celebrating anything during these lovely holiday times. You can be full of your own cheer as well. And we're full of your cheer as well. Like, we're just full of cheer. I love this time of year.
It's a nice time of year.
Even pandemic time. I love this time of year.
Even pandemic, it's pretty good. Pretty good. I got lots of presents wrapped. They're all very pretty. They all match because this is me we're talking about.
We talk about that in the after show.
Yep, stopping now.
Yeah, that's fine. It's fine. But otherwise, once again, we're back in these COVID times. Although looking brighter, as word of vaccines and things like that are coming about. But
hey, yeah, you and I even know someone who has now gotten the vaccine.
I know. I saw that today.
That makes me so happy.
That makes me happy too. Anyway, it is the holiday season, and we didn't have a single topic, and we put a call out for topics, and all of a sudden it got really good. So then we were like, cool, we'll do another grab bag. So here we are. We're going to answer. Actually, we have a topic that you suggested, a question that somebody brought up, and because it is the holiday season, it is time to talk about a little Ditch Lily trivia.
Yes.
And in this case,
we have to make good on our Twitter threat.
yes, people were excited to hear about the Ditch Lily Christmas album, one of my favorite Christmas albums, and
I mean, of course, yeah,
is always at least one or two tracks are in my Christmas mixes every year.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, we should get started. And
we should.
You had a very cool topical topic.
We're like on it tonight.
We are professional.
Just killing it.
Do not underestimate our professionalism. Tell me what your topic was.
So one of the things that it's fun to think about, and this is not exactly necessarily new information, but if you're going to give your GM, if you are a player, or as a GM, give your players a gift that is not a physical object.
Correct.
Right? What are the gifts that you can give each other in a game that just make everything better?
Yeah. I thought, we could do this really quick, and we could do it in the way that we normally do, which is we can each take one side of the topic. I could do the GM side.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Oh,
me.
All right. You want to do it right now? Okay, cool.
Yeah. Do it.
All right. So as a GM, the kind of gifts that you can give players, I'll name a couple of them because I think they're fun little things you can do for players. So I think one cool gift that you can give a player is to pull something out of their backstory. And if it's a little more obscure, the better. So what you're basically doing with this is you are showing the player that you took the care to reread their backstory or go through your notes from when you guys worked up your session 0 when you were working up your character, and taking a little bit of that and putting it into your current game, right? Because that's a little gift to the player, because then the player, and we've talked about this so many times, where when you put something in a backstory and then it gets incorporated, that completes a loop, right? And we like loops because we
like loops.
Yes.
But also, as sitting there as a player, like, that's your GM giving you a gift. They have given you the gift of time the thinking through the entire thing and the energy to get it in there and wrap it into their story. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think another one that that falls along similar line, right? Because they're all going to fall on this kind of general line. Another one that I think is really good is if you do a callback of something that a character really liked in a previous session, like something like an NPC. So, maybe they're in a faraway town or whatever, and, they're particularly fond of, I don't know, a traveling merchant or, a absent-minded wizard or something, like whatever it is, whatever the NPC is, find a way to work it into the scene so that, as they're, going through town, collecting information on what's going on, like all of a sudden, it's the wizard, like, and then you get to have a scene with them. Right. Because that's the gift. The gift is bringing one of their favorite NPCs into a current session and then having a little one-on-one interaction with their favorite NPC. So I think that's also a neat gift. And then lastly, the other one that you can do, and this one's tricky because the other two that I named, you can easily do for everybody in the party. In the course of a session, like it wouldn't be hard to pull that in a session for everybody. This next one's a little harder, but you can spotlight a character. Now you could spotlight a character in a scene, and that's okay. But like spotlighting them for an adventure, like a story, can be really fun. Like, and I've done this in many games where I will do a story that'll last a session or two, and it's primarily about one character in the group, and the other characters are kind of like in more of a supporting. They're not cast out. They're like in a supporting role. Like we go to the fighter's hometown. Yeah. Right. And this story is going to be very much about the fighter.
Yeah.
But the rest of the party's there to help.
Yeah. And they'll like do things and explore things and stuff.
Absolutely.
But there's an inevitability about like some of this ends up being really focused around it. I will just say super quickly, if you're not listening to Campaign Skyjacks, that actual play podcast is a beautiful example of doing one arc per player, not eliminating the other players from the game in any way, shape, or form, keeping them really involved and entertaining, but having sort of that focus point be about a specific person's sort of place in the world. Yep. It's very cool.
That may be a future topic for us or for Misdirected Mark at some point about how to structure those kinds of games, because there is a little balance of making it feel very focused on the character without isolating the rest of the party, because otherwise it's very boring for everyone else. All right, so
otherwise it's not really a gift.
Those are my three gifts. And they are all basically things that you can point at a player that kind of give, they make the player feel good because you're engaging them with either their past, their favorite NPC, or a story that's about them.
Yeah.
All right. What do you got from the flip side of that? What can a player give a GM?
This is all stuff that we have talked about before, but it is stuff that I just, as a GM, it's like my favorite stuff for players to give me, right? So the first one, and this is just something we rant about all the time, right? But like, take the hook. So like, be nice and, just give your GM the gift of jumping into the adventure and not making them work really hard to get you to go on the adventure that you said you wanted to be there for. So like, take the bait, take the hook, and go in and go all in on that adventure, and it will pay off for all of you, and your GM will appreciate you a lot. Put cool things in your background, or have basically hooks or interesting things that your GM can find, and that they can hook into easily. So we've definitely talked about character backgrounds and stuff before. You don't need to have 20 pages. Please don't make me read 20 pages. But if you give me a list of bullet points of important things, or even if you just give me as a GM, I really like this one too, right? Like, there's a mystical sword in my family's background and I don't know what it does. Awesome.
Yes, thank you. I'll take it from here.
That is a gift.
Yeah.
Thank you. Right? And then the last one that I actually wrote down is just to take notes. Right? Because like, that's actually, it's something that I personally as a player am terrible at. And I'll just admit that straight up. But being the person who just jots things down so that you kind of keep track of that stuff and help the GM out in terms of what happened last time, and like where you were, what you were planning, all of those things is really great and really helpful. And as a GM, I super appreciate it. So I think that's Yeah, that's a gift. I mean, it is a gift of your time and energy to take those notes and be that record keeper.
Yeah, and you don't have to take all the notes, and you don't have to take super exclusive notes. I mean, I think it runs on a continuum. I will take maybe an index card or two of notes during the course of a session, but it is often enough that when we meet up again, because we play typically bi-weekly, when we meet up 2 weeks later and I look at the card and I start to read it, I'm like, oh yeah, right? And
rings bells.
And then and usually, and this is my big tip if you're going to take any kind of notes for your game, do future you a favor when you're writing at the end of the evening.
That's
write
my favorite, yeah.
what the next thing you were going to do.
Yes. That's what I always write down is like, if I write nothing else down, but I've actually, so this is the terrible thing about my crew right now is like, we've all gotten terrible about taking notes, but like Wen at least still takes notes, except that at this point, he just writes down the funniest things that we say.
Right.
So the next session, we just sort of reconstruct what happened based on the funniest things that we said.
It's really good if you just write a few like little notes to jog your memory and write the thing I'm going to do next, or we're going to the temple.
We were about to do this.
Yeah, it is a huge help because it is the hardest part of coming back from coming back into a session is like once it gets rolling, it's rolling. Yeah. But kind of remembering like where you are and then what were you about to do. If you if you can fill in that piece, it makes everything else so much easier for the GM. It is a real gift, actually.
Yes. It's a gift. I'm telling you.
It is a real gift. And I appreciate it. I don't expect it from my players. Our social contract is such that our lives are really complicated, and I don't really expect my players to be able to recant every moment of what happens. I keep my own notes as a GM while I'm playing. And I also put in the what's going to happen next. I have a thing at the end of my notes that says next session. Yep. So that I also am aware. But if the players beat me to the punchline, then I'm just like, cool.
Yay.
Yeah.
Anyway, that certainly doesn't cover everything that you can do for each other as GMs and players. But hopefully that's just some tips like, hey, be super good to each other and give each other presents in the form of being good gamers.
And you don't have to do that during the holidays. You can do that anytime.
You should do it all year round. Just hold the holiday spirit of gaming
in your heart.
And keep it with you all the year through. Okay. Or else you will be visited by the three ghosts.
That's right.
of gaming. Gaming past, gaming present, and gaming future. Fantastic. So our next question came to us from Kaloum from the Released podcast. He asked, or he specifically said on Twitter, I miss somewhat crunchier games, and yet I'm bad at reading rule books. Any advice or method to read rule books efficiently and learn new game systems beyond waiting for someone to run it like the Gauntlet?
Yes. I mean, that is always the best one if you can get to somebody else to run it for you. But okay, I'm going to take this one because this is not your specialty.
It is not my specialty, but I will tell you my one thing I'm going to throw out here is if you can find an actual play of it, then you don't have to
I'm going
to
stick to the actual request, right? Of course, if you can find an actual play, that will help.
You go. But I've learned so many games from one shot.
Yes, and sometimes you even know the rules.
Sometimes.
Yes. Okay. So here you go. You are going to play a game that is some sort of medium crunch, maybe heavy crunch. And you are, and if you're like me, and I'm going through this right now because I'm reading Cyberpunk Red, which is like a medium crunch game compared to, a lot of stuff that I've been playing over the last couple of years. And so I'm like, okay, how do I tackle this thing, right? So the first thing is, one, the book's going to be big. So you're going to be reading a lot of stuff. So try to, one, very quickly sort out what is stuff that you should know versus what is stuff that you can look up, right?
Yeah.
So like, you start looking at the character stuff and you get into like skill descriptions. Like, do I really need to know these skill descriptions really well? No. I just like, let me read the names. Let me just kind of like lightly read some of the descriptions. Good. I can look those up later. List of cybernetics. Do I need to know these? No, I do not. Totally can look these up later, flip through, go forward. Same thing if you're reading like Numenera. Do I need to read through all the ciphers? You do not. Just flip through them and keep going. Okay. The piece that you want to find, if you are looking at any kind of modern game, modern contemporary game, right? Something from like right around, like, you know, in the last 10 years, even crunchy games are going to have a core mechanic, a like core task resolution. Like when you want to make a skill check, shoot a person, drive a car, whatever, it's going to be this type of role. This is the section you want to slow down and you really want to ingest, right? So in Numenera, it's the how to set difficulties and roll the d20, and in Cyberpunk, it's, you know, there's these numeric difficulty levels, and it's a d10 plus stat plus skill, and then, you know, usually there's a bunch of stuff that's kind of around it, like, you know, bonuses, like, you know, these things make skills easier, these things make the skill checks harder, or whatever. Learn this core mechanic, right? Spend some time. It is usually either its own chapter, or it comes up the first time that the rules have to explain how to do something. Often like a skill check. Like, oh, when you need to make a skill check, this is how you make a skill check. All right. So once you have learned the core mechanic, most modern games, everything else is a variant or a bolt, like either a variant of or bolted onto this core mechanic. So once you've got this piece down, you know, if you then get to the chapter on space combat, like you're going to find out that space combat is a whole series of checks. Well, now you know how to do the checks. So now you're just looking, being like, okay, there's a control roll. There's a roll if you want to do maneuvers. And again, maneuvers, not a thing that you have to, have memorized, right? Because now you know that maneuvers are a roll. And same thing, like when you get to combat, it's going to be the exact same way. You're going to get to combat and you're going to find out that rolling to hit is like rolling another skill. And then you're going to learn like, the next thing you want to learn is the task economy of the game. Almost all games have a task economy. And to be honest, most of them are attack, move, and a free action kind of thing. There's only a handful that deviate greatly from that, but you can almost always find that in the game, in the rules. So again, what you're looking for is find that core mechanic, read through the other subsystems, and then if the game is like really chunky, like I remember the first D20 Star Wars game had like skill resolution, combat, vehicle combat, spaceship combat. Like these were whole chapters, right? When I brought the game to the table, I told the players, I'm like, first of all, I had like one or two sessions, like just throwaway sessions with the players where I was like, cool, here's some NPCs. We're just going to have a gunfight. Like we're just going to practice. We're going to practice shooting each other, and did the same thing. We're going to practice flying some X-Wings. And then when you roll the game out to play it, don't feel like you have to put all the subsystems in game one, right? So in game one, have a shootout in the cantina and maybe like, you know, and maybe make some skill checks to, you know, get onto your ship and get off planet, and then don't do any space combat. And then come back, you know, after you've kind of gotten comfortable with those mechanics, then have maybe your next session is, okay, cool, we're in space, cool, space combat day. Mm-hmm. That kind of thing.
Space combat day.
I mean, you do these things in chunks, right? Like, because it's a lot to learn. So build upward, right? And so start small. Skill checks are the simplest thing in most games, right? Start small, skill checks, combat, maybe magic / force powers, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, and build. And yeah, just remember, like, these big, chunky rule books are full of a lot of stuff that you don't need to have memorized. And just learn how to discern which chapters. Like Numenera is a great example of this. Numenera is a chunk of a book, right? Like it is just 450 something pages. The actual rules for the game are like 20 pages. in the middle of the book. Like, there's a gazetteer. Don't have to memorize that. There's like 3 chapters of Numenera. Like, familiarize yourself. There's a bestiary. Skim it. There's jamming advice. Slow down. Read the jamming advice. Like, because the jamming advice was really good because the first part of it tells you how to run the system. Like,
yes.
So yeah, that's my advice is you want to build upward.
Can I add one thing to that?
Yeah.
So the thing that I would add to that is that this is a really good time to make cheat sheets as you read.
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Like to just jot down like these are the key things that I need to remember and functionally have in front of me all the time in the game, because that also helps you distill that knowledge that you're, basically that you're talking about right now in terms of pulling out the key items, and then it leaves aside all the stuff that you can look up. But then you can have that stuff in front of you. You don't have to memorize it, right? Yep.
One of the things I really like in the Cyberpunk book is that they have these. I don't even know I'll have to ask Tim what the layout term is, but they'll have like a box in the middle of the text where the font is much bigger and bold, and they will put like the rule. Right? Like they had it in the text above it as you were reading, but when you get to that section, you will see it as a box, and you're like, right, that is the basic skill check. This is the opposed skill check. Cool. You're going to want to flag tables. Making cheat sheets is great. If you look on Gnome Stew many, many, many years ago, I wrote a whole thing on making your own cheat sheets.
We might have talked about it before. We might have been inside of another topic, but
I'm sure
I don't know.
I'm sure I did a show on it somewhere. Search the Misdirected Mark site, but I guarantee you, if you search the Gnome Stew site, you'll find the same thing. I'm notorious for doing them. I made my own Blades in the Dark and Scum and Villainy cheat sheets because I did not like the ones that came with the game. I did not find them helpful, and so I just made my own. And made that, and it made it much easier for me to run that game.
Yeah, I run actually one last job off of cheat sheets that I made, and there was something else that I made one for more recently, but I don't remember what it was. Anyway, but we should move on.
Yes,
we have a very important last topic.
It is the Christmas season.
Yes,
and I am a huge fan of Christmas music. Right, in the past, I have I'm on my home server, I have many, many gigs of Christmas music that I have over the years acquired. But now I just get all my stuff from streaming services. So I just, either make my own playlists or pull playlists. And of course, I'm a huge fan of the Ditch Lilies, as we are co-presidents of
the fan club still.
And up to this point, we have never discussed the Ditch Lilies Christmas album.
Yeah, it's sort of wild that we missed it.
I know.
Because everybody in the 90s had one.
And NSYNC had one.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody
had one. So, how have we not discussed this before?
Yeah, absolutely. It was a very 90s thing to do, was to cut your own Christmas album.
Yes.
Holiday album. We don't have to be.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be specifically Christmas.
So the Ditch Lilies did this. I think we just never talked about it because I think we just never talked about the Ditch Lilies during Christmas time.
Right, during the holiday season. Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't know how we would have missed this, right?
Right,
so
right.
What's the album called? Tell people.
So it's called Crowding Under the Mistletoe.
Right.
And it's mostly a compilation of some traditional songs, right?
Oh, I mean, you can't do a Christmas album without doing some classics, right?
Right. I mean, there is my personal favorite, and I know that it's different from your personal favorite. My personal favorite is actually Lily.
Yeah.
Lily. How many lilies can I say in one sentence? My personal favorite is actually Lily's rendition of "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas."
Oh, that's
I'm a big fan.
One. Yeah. No.
I'm a big fan of that one.
Yeah, that's totally good. I have two favorites. I have two favorites. So one, I really enjoy. I enjoy Lily's "Oh Holy Night." Mm-hmm. I'm a sucker for that song anyway. I just if it's done well, I really like it. And hers is a little more folksy. Because
the whole album tilts a little more folksy than some of the rest of their stuff, right?
I mean, when you think of classic "Oh Holy Night," Celine Dion's "Oh Holy Night" is the high bar at which I hold all versions of "Oh Holy Night."
Fair, good.
I mean, her high notes are like beyond, right? Like, you know, no one else hits those notes. Anyway, the other one I like, just because it's, I think, more fitting for the times. And it was the song that No Doubt also did, which was Oi to the World.
Yeah.
I'm always, I love,
also fun.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a good, you know, ska punk kind of sound thing.
Yeah, that one is not as folksy.
No, but it's fun.
That's more their standard sound. Yeah.
Yeah. But the real gem of this album.
Yeah.
Is the title track.
The title song.
Right. And this is an original. This is a Ditch Lilies original. While the other ones are just covers of classic and, you know, and not so classic Christmas songs, Crowding Under the Mistletoe is actually a Ditch Lilies original Christmas song.
Yeah.
And it's got a little bit of a history to it.
I think it's one of those songs that, like, I mean, the song is good, right?
Oh, I love it.
I love it. But I think that it's better known for the history behind it than it is for the song itself.
I mean, I'll be truthful. It could be a country western song.
It could be.
Like, it could be a country western song based on how it plays out, right? So it starts at a period where Lily is not dating anyone.
I know, which is shocking, isn't it?
Right, but has
that doesn't
feelings.
happen very often. Yeah.
Right.
That happens a lot, though.
That happens a lot. And she winds up, you know, at the point where she's writing this, and I don't think she wrote it. I think she wrote it around Christmas time one year, like, you know, probably the year before the album got released.
Right.
Because the song's about a Christmas party.
Yeah.
But
it's kind of the story of the Christmas party.
Yeah, it is. It's the story of the Christmas party. So I'll set it up. Lily is single, and she's crushing on both Michelle and Megan, but hasn't asked out either one yet.
Right.
And then she has too much to drink.
Yes.
And in her drunkenness, what does she do?
She asked them both
separately. Yeah.
Right. So she ran into both of them and asked each of them separately to meet her under the mistletoe that was apparently hanging somewhere at this party. Right?
Correct.
In a door frame. And at which point, what actually happened is they did. They both went to meet Lily under the mistletoe. The problem is that Lily wasn't there.
Correct.
It was just Megan and Michelle at the same time under the mistletoe.
And so Megan and Michelle are standing there under the mistletoe and are kind of swept up in the moment, and they wind up kissing.
Yes.
And they wind up dating for the next year.
Yeah, they were dating for a long time.
Right. So they wind up kissing and then kind of leaving the party. And now Lily goes to the mistletoe and no one's there.
No one is there. And she can't find Megan or Michelle anywhere because they're gone.
They're having their own Christmas holiday celebration somewhere. Yes. And dejected, she scoops up a bottle of liquor and sits down on the couch and has a little more to drink, right? Kind of drowning her, you know, emotions. And Ashley finds her. Yeah.
Which is cute because this is the story of how Lily and Ashley started dating.
Yes.
Which is delightful. But so they did end up dating for a while too. But that's so the beginning of the song is pretty like hopeful, upbeat, and it's about like being in love and like that bubbly feeling. And then the chorus is about like basically like they met without me under the mistletoe and they left.
Right. And it takes kind of a downer, right?
It takes a downer, but then like we get a little bit more story in the next couple of verses, and then it goes up again at the end, and then the words in the chorus actually change to like I met her under the mistletoe, and like because then she took Ashley over the mistletoe.
Yes.
And they kissed, right? So it's cute though. It's cute.
It's a really cute story. It all worked out in the end. In terms of like no one like Lily wasn't mad at Michelle or Megan, right? Like she hadn't really confessed her feelings to either one of them. She was just crushing.
It was her plan.
Right. And as it turned out, before the band retired, she would date both of them anyway.
Yes.
So it was it's a fun little Christmas song. It's got a nice little story to it, a little up and down to it. And it ends on a sweet note.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, it's good.
Cute.
It's good. It's a fun tune. It's hard to find. I'm going to tell you can't find it on streaming services.
Yeah.
It was the disc was never in stores. It was recorded and it was sold at their concerts out of the back of their van. So
that was
either
it.
you have one
Or you don't.
You did. I know for a while it was up on Napster, but but that's that's not a thing you're gonna find. So you're really gonna have to do some digging if you want to find Crowding Under the Mistletoe.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's a little
good.
ditch.
It's deep cuts.
Yeah, that's there. A little Ditch Lily trivia there for you.
And that is our gift to you.
Yes.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, happy holidays. And after we have given our holiday gifts, it is time for us to get back into the chimney, climb back up, take our sleigh, and ride off into the night, spreading role-playing knowledge and holiday joy for all the good girls and boys.
Yes.
And maybe even a few of you bad ones.
on
especially
Blitzen,
a few of you bad ones.
And Baggon and Comet and Cupid.
And in order to do that, we have to reach the end of the show. And the way that we reach the end of the show is Senda makes up something about another show on the Misdirected Mark Network.
Boy, I sure do. Let's see. On Bonus Experience, you can listen to two awesome queer gals talking about awesome game stuff. They're hilarious. They like sparkling water, and their editor is fake, but we love her.
She's a great fake editor.
Yes. Good. Yeah. So totally check out Bonus Experience. I love them. I love them a lot.
Say, Senda.
Yes.
How do people find us on the internet?
Well, you can find us on Twitter at Pandas Talk Games. You can find us on the Misdirected Mark forums at forums.misdirectedmark.com, or you can drop us an email, panda@misdirectedmark.com. And Phil, once they find us in one of those places, what can they do with that information?
You can, and you should, and we highly encourage you to leave us a question, a topic, something that you'd like to hear us talk about. We really pride ourselves on doing the show about the things that matter to you. Our job is not only to entertain you, but is to actually help you run better games or play better games. And we want to really do that. And the way we do that is by taking the things that you need and giving them to you. So hit us up, the Twitter or wherever, the many places that you can find us, the forums, the Slack room. If you're a patron, we'll get to that in a second. And give us some ideas. We love them. We absolutely love them. I love doing them. There's no rhyme or reason to how we pick them. It's whatever sticks. So don't feel bad if, there's literally no rhyme or reason. I just, we throw them out and I'm like, ooh, that one. And then we do that one.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's just whatever sparks some ideas. But anyway, we love to do that stuff. So please, send us those ideas. We're like, I think about 95%, 95% listener generated content.
Yes.
The other 5% we reserve for things like Ditch Lily trivia and stuff like that. Okay. If you like what we do here elsewhere on the Misdirected Mark Network, please consider supporting our Patreon campaign if that is a thing that you are able to do. The Patreon campaign can be found at patreon.com/MMP. Your patronage helps to make all of this possible, right? Like, there are expenses to running podcasts. We need servers, we need space, backups, equipment, replacement cables, all those things.
I'm launching a new show.
Yeah,
I'm
that's a huge one,
right? But I'm launching a new show, and I want to make sure that I can give them
that's huge,
whatever
right?
support they need to make sure everybody has mics and stuff. I don't want them to have to buy their own things.
Absolutely, that's another thing. Bootstrapping new shows. Those are all things that your patronage provides, and it is a thing that we greatly appreciate. If you are a patron, or become a patron of the show, you get access to the after show for this show. which used to be the bonus outtakes, but we don't edit anymore, so they're not outtakes.
They weren't. Yeah, I didn't take the outtakes out of the show anymore.
Now it's just us talking about more stuff.
We just talk about things.
The Misdirected Mark after show as well. You get access to the Slack room for life, which I can't say enough nice things about. I love the Slack room. I love the people in the Slack room. I love talking to everybody on Slack. Part of that Slack room experience is if you are working from home on Fridays at 12:30 Eastern, whatever that translates into your time zone, you can just join us in our Zoom luncheon. I say luncheon because I'm the one who's hosting it, and I'm eating lunch during it.
Yes, it is second breakfast for me.
Exactly. You pick what meal is relevant in your time zone and come join us. We'd love to have you there. We really enjoy having. We have a crew of regulars, and then we are often surprised as people pop in.
It's great.
It's so much fun when someone pops in.
I've actually gotten to meet some new people, and it's been really fantastic.
It's really cool when we actually get to put a face to names that we know from either Twitter or from the Slack room. Like, I love it. I absolutely love it. Like, even if you can't come all the time and you just like pop in for one because I don't know, you took the Friday off and you're home or something, you want to pop in, whatever. You like anytime. You're not committed to come to all of them, but we love when people show up.
We're not going to do it on Christmas though, right?
We are. Yeah, I'm going to actually talk about that on Friday with everyone. We're going to do one Christmas Eve on the Thursday. So that might be another thing.
Well, so that's a thing that you should say now because this is the episode.
Yeah, if you are listening right now, we are going to do it. If you're a patron, we're going to put up the information, but we're going to do our luncheon on Thursday, Christmas Eve. So if you're home on Christmas Eve, come join us for like an hour or so while we, eat lunch and have fun and stuff like that. Anyway, the patronage. If you are able to be a patron, we appreciate it greatly. If you're unable to be a patron, that is okay. There is still a thing you can do for us. I'm not going to go into the big long spiel like I do most shows, but what we need is your help for people to hear us. We already assume that after you've listened to us, you've told everybody about us. So if you've done that, we thank you already. And if you haven't done that, please, spread the word. But there's one more thing. One more thing. Sorry, my little Hamilton moment. Like one more time, but one last time is actually the song from Hamilton, which I love, by the way. We'll talk about that in the after show.
Okay.
Anyway, there's one more thing you can do that helps us. It helps us with strangers. Helps people who you don't know and we don't know find us and hear about us. Because again, if you listen to us, you will love us, and that just works. So we need your help funneling people into that space, and that's by leaving reviews where
you said mostly all of the things this time on Apple Podcasts or the podcatcher of your choice. New reviews really do actually help the fun little algorithm. And I'm just going to say this as a generalization. When we talk about gifts for holidays and that sort of thing, one of the best ways that you can give a gift to a podcaster is by leaving them a review. So whether that's our show or you've already left a review for our show, if you go forth and leave some reviews for your favorite podcasts, you will make people's days and they will love you.
That's facts.
So just, a thing to think about. It doesn't cost anything and you can leave them in lots of different places. Us personally, we love to hear about it because we can't track all of those places and it's not like they send you an alert. So like ping us on Twitter or something. Just let us know. We'll go read it wherever it is. If it's on like Podchaser or it's on like Apple Podcasts or like wherever. Just tell us where it is.
Super helpful.
We'll go read it.
Cool.
Yeah, and thanks to everybody who's already left a review. We really, really, really do appreciate them.
Hey, Senda.
Yeah.
Show me what gift you're going to get your GM in your next game.
Oh, I am the GM right now.
Oh, what gift are you going to give your players?
This show is a joint production of She's a Super Geek and Misdirected Mark Productions, the media arm of Encoded Designs.
Show me what you got, eh? Show me what you got. Show me what you got, eh? Show me what you got. Show me what you got, eh? Show me what you got. Show me what you got, eh?
Bloop.
Check.
See, I was relying on the tap to click, and it just didn't tap. And so this time I actually
That was an aborted click. Mm-hmm. That happens from time to time. All right, I look like I'm good. Waveforms look good.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna record so we can head into an after show.
We're gonna do this.
Boom. Bum, bum, ba-da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na.